Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Coding Zoo. If this is your first time joining, my name is Shane, and this is the HTML Building Blocks series. In today's lesson, we are going to cover how to create input elements of checkboxes and radio buttons. So a checkbox allows you to select multiple items, and a radio button lets the user choose one item between many. So if you haven't used those two HTML form elements before, hey, stick around. You need to learn those. We're going to jump right in. All right, hey, so let's get started. I went ahead and prepared an HTML page for us. I went ahead and created a form element. And inside that form element, I have a field set. If you're not familiar with field sets, check out our previous videos. We go over that. Basically just an element for grouping certain types or rather like fields inside of a form. So inside this field set, I have a legend, which basically gives the field set a name. And I put this little paragraph. What language do you want to learn? So inside of this div, we're going to go ahead and add a radio button. So basically, imagine you have a form and you are asking somebody, hey, which language do you want to learn? You get to choose one and only one. So how would you do that? Well, one option is like a select box. Another option is like a radio button. So let's show you how that works. So I'm going to uncomment this code. I'm going to take out this attribute there. Click Save. Okay, so inside of this div, I have three input elements, 1, 2, 3. I have them set as a type equal to radio. Type equal to radio. Now notice that each one of them has the same name, language. So if you're going to have several radio buttons and a person can only choose one of them, they must have the same name. They cannot have different names, or basically you're going to create different radio button sets. This is one set, so it has one name. If you have two sets, would you use two different names? So I've got input type of radio. I've got the name of language. And again, radio, language, radio, language. So that's one set of radio buttons. All right, now you can put a different ID if you like. I've got choice 1, choice 2, choice 3. And you'll notice next to my input, I put label. And then I put label for choice 1, which is right here. And I put JavaScript. So a label is usually used to, well, label another element. In this case, it actually is very helpful. And let me show you why. So I'm going to cut that out, and I'm just going to type in the word JavaScript and save it. Let's go here and look at my screen. Okay, so I went ahead and refreshed the screen. This is the code I just showed you running. Now look right here, I've got the radio button, and I've got JavaScript, and the next radio button, and Java, and C++ is the last radio button. So now you'll notice that if I click on one, like C++, and then I try to click on another one, well, it's going to click the one it's going to set the one I clicked on, and it's going to uncheck the one that I checked before. So it only allows you to select one. Now watch this. I'm not going to click on this radio button. I am going to click on C++, on the word C++. Now what happens? So if I click on the word C++, I don't have to click on the radio button itself. I can click on the word that is a label for it, and it will select the radio button for me. Now, if you look at the JavaScript one here, well, I got rid of the label, and I just put the word JavaScript. You'll notice on Java, I have a label, and on C++, I have label. So I put the actual text inside of a label. But with JavaScript, I just put the text there. I didn't put it inside of a label. I didn't assign it to choice 1. So what happens when I click on JavaScript? Well, nothing, because the browser doesn't know that JavaScript is tied to this radio button. And that's not a good user experience, right? I want to choose JavaScript, but it's not choosing it for me. I actually have to click right on the button and then it'll choose it for me. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If you're using radio buttons, you want to use that label. It gives a bigger space for your user to click on. They don't have to click exactly on the button. So if I click on Java, I'm going to go back. Let's put that label back, save it, go here, click refresh. And now if I click on JavaScript, boom, sets it for me. So hopefully that makes sense. So this is a radio button set. I have 3 choices. If I click on Java, click submit, you'll notice the very top of my page here, it says language equals JV. I put JV to stand for Java. So you'll see my value. So on my radio button, I have choice 2. I have the named language just like the rest of them, and I put a value. So whatever you choose, the value for that will be sent to your server or to your other page. So if I were to choose JavaScript, it's going to send the value of JS. If I choose C++, it's going to send this value right here, C++. So let's go back. My screen just got a little smaller. Let's bump it up a little bit so you can see it better. All right, so I'm going to click on C++, click submit, and you'll notice that the language equals C, and then this is the equivalent of plus plus. It's URL encoded, so you can't actually see the plus, but we'll get into that in a later lesson. So pretty simple. You can only choose one option, and that one option, when you click submit, will be passed to the server. Now, notice when I refresh my page here, there isn't anything selected. But what if you wanted the user to have something pre-selected when they got to the page? You can add the attribute checked. So I'm going to add the attribute checked to C++, save it, go here, click refresh, and there we go. So C++ is the default. All right, so that's it for radio buttons. Pretty simple. It allows you to specify an n number of elements and allow the user to only choose one. Of course, if you're going to do like 10 or 20, you probably shouldn't use a radio button. You should probably use something like a select box, something like that. Radio button is great when you have 2 or 3 or 4 options. You don't want them to be hidden in a select box. You just want the user to see them and easily to be able to choose them. Let's move on to the next one. So the next one is a checkbox. This is a radio button. This is a checkbox. They're very similar. The difference is with a checkbox, you can select more than one. You can allow the user to select more than one. All right, so again, I have another div here. I've got an input type equals checkbox. And I have, again, choice 1, choice 2, and choice 3. And notice my name here is language, language, language. I'm going to change that to language 2 just so it doesn't equal the same as language up here in the radio button. So language 2, language 2, language 2. All right. So I have input type equals checkbox. My name is language 2. Again, the names they don't have to be the same. Let's see what happens if they're not the same. I'm going to leave 2 of them the same and 1 of them not. So I'm going to change this to language 3. So I have 2 of them that are language 2 and 1 of them that are language 3. Again, you don't have to put them the same, but you can. I'll show you what happens. You'll notice right here also, I'm using the checked attribute. It's just like the radio button. You can pre-select something for the user, and you can actually do more than one. You can do all of them checked if you want. Radio button, you can really only check one. All right, so we have the type, we have the ID, we have the name. Again, the name doesn't have to be the same. Usually I do put it the same if it's a group of checkboxes that kind of are the same thing, they're the same subject matter. I usually put the same name. You don't have to though. So we have the value. The value is what's passed to the server when you click submit. I've got a value of JS. I've got a value for JV for Java, and I've got C++ for C++. I'm going to save it. Click save, refresh. And now I have my checkboxes. It looks very similar to the radio button, except that it's a square. I've got these two defaulted as checked. I'm going to uncheck one of them. I'm going to leave Java. I'm going to leave Java checked. I'm going to click submit. And now I have language equals C, and that's C++. And then I have another one here. Language equals JV, language 2. So that was what was selected with my checkboxes. All right, I'm going to blow my browser up just a little bit so you can see it better again. For some reason, it keeps switching back on me today. All right, so just to iterate, I've got C. I'm going to choose Java script. I'm going to choose Java here. I'm going to get rid of that C++. Click submit. All right. If you notice up here, language equals JS and language 2 equals JV, which is what I chose. So now let's look at what happens if I submit with these two checked, right? So actually, I'm going to do these two right here, JavaScript and Java. If we go back to the code, you'll see that I actually have one called language 2 and language 2. They're both the same language. I'm going to submit them both. So what's going to happen? Click submit. And if you go to the top here, you'll see my language equals C++. And then you'll see I have two language 2s. One is JS, equal to JS, and one is JV, equal to JV. So it actually will submit those to the server, and it submits them with the same name. Usually what will happen is the technology on the server will treat that as one parameter called language 2, which will basically be the type of array. So what's one of the data structures you can have in different languages to store multiple items of the same type? Arrays. If you're not familiar with arrays, don't worry about it. You can actually learn about those in our JavaScript building block series. But I just wanted to point out you can use the same name, and I often do on checkboxes that are for the same concept, the same context. Okay, now what happens if I choose all three, considering I have two of the same name and another one that has a different name called language 3? Click submit. Go to the edge here, and there's my language 3, language 2, language 2. So it takes all of them. So that's it. Pretty simple stuff. I can use a checkbox to send multiple items at once or none at all. I can use a radio button to provide the user options where they can choose only a single one. So checkbox more than one, radio button 1. Pretty simple, pretty neat stuff. I hope that makes sense to you. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. I definitely will get back in touch with you. If this is your first time joining us and you'd like to see more videos, we have videos on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Check out our channel. Check out the codingzoo.com website. If you liked this video, click that like button. If you haven't subscribed before and you want to watch more videos, you want to learn with us, our goal is to help others like you learn. So we're here for you to teach you how to program. We'd like to help you. If you're interested, click the subscribe below. A little bell icon will pop up. Click on that bell icon and you'll get alerts. Hey, thanks for joining us. We hope you have a great week. We'll see you next time. Bye.